So you could sell a product or service in Messenger, and then you can keep adding value. So I get the camera, then I get PDFs on, giving me guidance on setting up the camera, best location, how to deal with issues, FAQs, all delivered via Messenger. And with Messenger, your open rates at the moment are 90% plus, with click-through rates of in excess of 40%. So you know that people are engaging with your content. My name's Jim Rowe, and I'm a chatbot creator stroke developer, and I've got a couple of guys that help me. So I've worked in digital marketing for the last 8 years, mainly around content, social media strategy, and love of video, social video. Then I worked with a startup in 2016, and we launched that startup using a messenger-driven chatbot, and that convinced me that this was going to be a platform really useful for businesses for marketing. So at the moment, I've seen lots of companies testing, and my first experience of e-commerce chatbot integration was actually when I purchased a Mevo camera, which was a small live streaming camera, and at the end of the checkout process was a little tick box to get updates in Messenger, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. Clicked it, complete the checkout process, and then I received my invoice via Messenger, tracking information via Messenger, and then I got the every order completed via Messenger. Everything happened in Messenger, and that started my mind ticking over about where you could take that to the next level. So you could sell a product or service in Messenger, and then you can keep adding value. So I get the camera, then I get PDFs on, giving me guidance on setting up the camera, best location, how to deal with issues, FAQs, all delivered via Messenger. And with Messenger, your open rates at the moment are 90% plus, with click-through rates of in excess of 40%. So you know that people are engaging with your content. So interestingly enough, we've seen engagement on email drop considerably. When I ask people when was the last time you emailed a friend, it's often years ago. So I think businesses first need to realise that we don't communicate that way between friends anymore, and people are expecting businesses to communicate in a new way. The incentive I've used with previous clients is to reach out to that email list, which we know the open rate is going to be poor, we know the click-through rate is going to be poor, unfortunately, but just to reach out and offer them early access, almost like a VIP club, and they then become the first people to get any kind of content that you want to share, and that makes them feel special, of course, and because you're delivering it in a new and fresh way with a mixture of audio and video and text, you just find it's a lot more engaging, and then naturally you'll just see more and more people start to arrive in Messenger if it's adding value. Customer onboarding via a messenger-driven chatbot is massively underrated. If you're selling a service or a product that is slightly more complicated, the ability to get them up to speed really quickly with that product or service by just feeding them bits of information is invaluable. And then also using the chatbot, the conversational design to get feedback really quickly. And a lot of that can be automated. So yeah, I think it works beautifully well. And, that's been done on email for years, but people just don't engage with it anymore, and you need people to engage. One of my key verticals at the moment is shopping centres. What I find with shopping centres is their chatbot has to have a lot of information, but there's not a lot of conversations. People are going to ask probably 1 of 10 questions, which will cover probably 70 to 80% of the queries. Is what time are you open? What time do you close? Where are you? Where's the car park? What ways can I get to you? Is there train, taxi, whatever? And then it's going to be what stores have you got? What time is that store open, close? How do I get in touch with that store? There's not a vast amount of questions, so it's really easy just to program those in as keyword-driven responses. Where it really adds value is every time that somebody asks one of those questions and opts in, and it is a double opt-in system, they then become a subscriber, so then you're able to market to them direct in Messenger. And we consistently see with 2 of the shopping centres at the moment open rates of 90% plus. sometimes 100%. And we see click-through rates of always in excess of 30 to 40%. But what we've also found is as we segment those people, so if somebody has shown an interest in women's products, for instance, we will segment that audience, and if we've got some news around that, it might only be 300-400 people that we send that message to, but you'll get 100% open rate. The way I always approach a chatbot is we start by looking at everything we can achieve. And it's just every idea goes on the table. Then what we do is we slim that down to what we call the minimum viable bot. Very much the same approach as a minimum viable product.
Yeah.
And what we do is we will find what is going to be a nice match between the business and the customer and give value to both, almost as like a test bed. We then would launch that. So for instance, it might just simply be that little tick box at the end that adds in tracking information, product news or whatever it is. But it might be at the very beginning of the conversation. We saw that a lot on e-commerce where we'd have a modal window pop up and people sign up for their email straight away.
Yeah.
Those don't really work anymore, and I think Google doesn't like that kind of approach. So you need to just somehow decide, do you want to get them customer up front before a purchase, or do you want to add value after post-purchase? And that depends on every business type. So it's a really clear strategy when you come to fashion, I believe, and if you're niching in on one certain area of fashion, is that you've got to link everything together. Your Google ads, your Facebook remarketing. A lot of people don't realise that if you have a business has a conversation with a potential customer in Messenger, you can then output them into a custom audience, so you can remarket to them. Yeah. You can remarket down to the specific product. They've come through the chatbot, they've looked at a particular product. They've dwelled on that product and they like it, so then you can start remarketing that product straight to them. But then you've got that ability to automate offers, sales, flash sales, whatever you like, and directly in Messenger, which are going to be viewed, and you get the analytical data. You see who viewed it, who clicked it, and you can then segment that audience. If they really clicked on it but didn't quite make the purchase, then you can 24, 48 hours later come back with another offer. It works. A lot of the strategies that worked early on with email and had high conversion are now working in Messenger. So at the moment, it's a bit of a wild west out there. There's lots of people trying chatbots, and I see it at very much the enterprise end with the really clever AI-driven machine learning chatbots, products such as Clio, which would is almost like a banking advisor, and then you've got the lower end. People like Seth Godin, who will just announce on his Messenger to his audience that he's going live or he's launched a new blog post. And then you've got something in between. And most of the time, I spend a lot of time educating my clients about what the possibilities are, managing their expectations, because they think they want this super duper AI-driven chatbot, when actually to drive sales, they need something that's very functional. Yeah. And then often long-term partnerships, because it adapts over time. I always say no chatbot survives first contact. As soon as you put it live, a potential customer will do something you don't expect, and you've got to be ready for that. And the minimum viable bot then needs to start being layered. So you do some testing, some split testing, which you can do within your chatbots, and then you find what works, and then you layer extra capabilities on top of your chatbot. You listen to your customers, you find out what they need.